But elections are won on the margins by a coalition of little things that hit people personally. Trump gets this. He feels your pain in the Kamala ran on democracy, which is the most important issue. But without the political skill to sell it, it added up to nothing. Meanwhile, Trump was running on, I'll make the poop go down. He never shut up about bad shower pressure, light bulbs, and low-flow toilets. It reminded me of when Chuck Schumer said in 2016 that for every blue-collar Democrat we lose in Western Pennsylvania, we're going to pick up 2 moderate Republicans in the suburbs of Philly, Ohio, Illinois, and Wisconsin. Yeah, how'd that work out?
Ma is sounding the alarm that his once beloved Democratic Party is sliding toward irrelevance, and he isn't sugarcoating it. According to Maher, the DNC is starting to look like a hollow version of what it used to be, and if they don't correct course fast, they risk turning into a political ghost brand. His critique was sharp, biting, and still somehow hilarious at the same time. So buckle up, hit subscribe, and let's get into it.
I fear the Democratic Party is at risk of becoming a ghost brand too. Like Sears, it used to be mighty and ascendant and popular. Sears once accounted for 1% of the entire American economy and 41% of the appliance market, and built the country's tallest tower. Democrats once controlled Congress and the Supreme Court, or at least competitive. But now, even at a time when President Trump is turning 250 years of democracy into jeans shorts,
Bill Maher has been watching the Democratic Party closely, and what he's seeing doesn't impress him. There was a time when the party was a true powerhouse, beloved by the working class, championing big causes and drawing massive crowds. It felt alive, energized, and unstoppable. Today, Ma says that same party barely resembles its former self. Once a unifying force, it now struggles to connect with the voters who carried it for decades. The messaging feels confused, priorities scattered, and relevance increasingly questioned. Ma warns that unless Democrats reconnect with everyday Americans and start offering practical solutions again, they risk becoming a party remembered more for nostalgia than real impact.
Democrats have their lowest rating in 35 years, 63% unfavorable. What happened? I don't know. What happened to Sears? It used to be synonymous with the American dream because it kept faith with what the customer wanted. Did we love Sears? No, but that was besides the point. You just went. It was like an Avatar movie that sold tools.
Maher argues that the Democrats have drifted far from their original mission, and now the consequences are impossible to ignore. Once the natural home of the working class, the party has lost its grip on the very people who built its power. Instead of addressing daily struggles, Ma says they've focused on agendas that feel distant and disconnected from real life. The message no longer lands. What once inspired loyalty now sparks frustration or indifference. As a result, voters are walking away in growing numbers, searching for alternatives that speak more clearly to their concerns. Ma warns that if this path continues, Democrats won't just lose elections, they risk fading into political irrelevance altogether.
It used to be where your family bought everything, from school clothes to appliances to your family Christmas portrait. Now, Sears is a great place to go if you want to be alone. But you better hurry. Sears used to have 3,500 stores, and now it has 5. Same thing happened to Playboy, except in silk pajamas and a captain's hat. For 66 years, Playboy magazine was also a fact of American life. Sears sold your father a mattress, and Playboy was what he hid under it.
That's why Maher keeps comparing the DNC to brands like Sears and Playboy. Both were once giants that shaped American culture. But when they failed to adapt to changing times and customer needs, their dominance collapsed. Today they exist mostly as shadows of what they once were. Ma fears the Democratic Party could face the same fate if it doesn't change quickly and decisively. Once a political powerhouse with broad appeal, the DNC now risks stagnation by clinging to strategies that no longer resonate with everyday Americans. Ma's analogy isn't just clever, it's a warning wrapped in humor, urging the party to evolve before it becomes another case study in decline.
Basic problem we have in America is conservatives think the liberals are insane, and they're not completely wrong. Now, I don't think most liberals are insane, but neither do they make it clear they disapprove of the ones who are, and their cowardice in not marginalizing their own crazies has been their downfall. I couldn't get Neil deGrasse Tyson, a genius scientist and preeminent scientific voice in the media, to agree that it was ridiculous for Scientific American and The Atlantic to be claiming that separating sports by doesn't make sense.
What frustrates Maher most, though, is the left's growing rejection of basic facts and objective reality. In his view, many on the left are so deep inside their ideological bubble that logic and evidence barely register anymore. Feelings start replacing facts, and truth becomes whatever fits the narrative of the moment. Maher sees this as both dangerous and absurd. Policies and debates are shaped less by real-world outcomes and more by what sounds morally fashionable. For him, this shift from evidence to emotion isn't just annoying, it's destructive. When decisions ignore reality, the consequences are real, measurable, and often painful.
People ask me all the time, why haven't you ever had Hillary or Bill Clinton on? Why didn't you have Kamala on during the last campaign? You think we don't ask? We ask these people every week. They say no. It took 8 years and a petition to get Obama on. And these are people, all people I voted for. Think about that. They're afraid to come on the show of a guy who voted for them.
Maher also takes direct aim at the Democratic leadership itself, especially their fear of unscripted conversations. From Hillary Clinton to Kamala Harris, he calls out how often top Democrats avoid appearing anywhere they can't tightly control the narrative. Maher argues it's not about scheduling conflicts, it's about fear of honest dialogue. These are leaders he personally voted for, yet they won't even sit down in friendly environments if real questions might come up. To Maher, that signals a party that no longer trusts its own message. When leaders hide behind handlers instead of engaging openly, credibility slowly erodes.
I've been telling Democrats for years the Republicans are going to steal pot from you as an issue, and now Trump says,
we're looking at reclassification and we'll make a determination.
What'd you expect? He is the master at winning votes from small groups who are passionate about one issue, picking up a couple percent here, a couple there, until on election night it's YMCA.
By contrast, Maher points out that Donald Trump focused relentlessly on issues average Americans actually care about. Jobs, the economy, immigration, security, and national pride weren't abstract concepts to Trump, they were front and center talking points. He didn't get lost in cultural side battles. He spoke directly to people's daily concerns in a way that felt raw and personal. That clarity, Maher argues, is what voters respond to most. While many politicians chase trends and ideological approval, Trump focused on results and real-world impact. And that connection, whether people liked his style or not, earned loyalty and trust.
His first term, he signed an executive order banning TikTok and then got trounced by young voters. So in 24, he campaigned on saving it. And apparently every Tide Pod eater responded because his youth vote was up 21%. In his first term, he called cryptocurrency not money and based on thin air and said it seems like a scam. And who better to know a scam? Well, that was then. Now he's on more coins than Julius Caesar. Overnight, he became the crypto candidate as opposed to Biden, the crypt keeper candidate.
Maher also highlights how Trump managed to win back voters he initially lost by adjusting his approach instead of doubling down blindly. Rather than sticking rigidly to one message, Trump refined it, sharpened his focus, and spoke more directly to a broader range of voters. He addressed economic opportunity, national strength, and long-term stability in ways that resonated across age groups. That adaptability mattered. Voters didn't just respond to what he said, but to the fact that he was willing to recalibrate. In Maher's view, relevance in politics comes from responsiveness, not rigid ideology.
Chalk up another 1 or 2%. Democrats used to own Silicon Valley. Those California do-gooder liberals who wanted to save the planet. Yeah, right. Trump came along and said, regulations? We don't need no stinking regulations. Not only did he win them over, in his second inauguration, they were all sitting up on the stage with him. There was an entire section that looked like the full range of the autism spectrum.
Trump also pulled in major parts of the tech industry by rolling back heavy regulations that Democrats had layered onto the sector. His argument was simple: innovation thrives when government gets out of the way. By easing regulatory pressure, he positioned himself as pro-growth and business-friendly. Meanwhile, Democratic-led states, especially California, buried companies under taxes and compliance rules. The result has been a steady corporate exodus to states with fewer barriers. Ma points out that overregulation turned California from a tech paradise into a warning sign. Trump's approach appealed not just to executives, but to workers who understood that growth means jobs and opportunity.
But elections are won on the margins by a coalition of little things that hit people personally. Trump gets this. He feels your pain in the Kamala ran on democracy, which is the most important issue. But without the political skill to sell it, it added up to nothing. Meanwhile, Trump was running on, I'll make the poop go down. He never shut up about bad shower pressure, light bulbs, and low-flow toilets.
In the end, Ma's warning is blunt and clear. Trump focused on fixing what was broken, while Democrats drifted into performance, symbolism, and ideological theater. He talked about inflation, crime, borders, and jobs, while much of the Democratic leadership obsessed over optics and fringe cultural battles. Voters can feel the difference between real leadership and political acting. Ma's point is simple: parties survive by listening to the people they represent. Trump adapted and addressed real problems. Democrats chased ideology and cultural approval. Voters noticed. If the Democratic Party doesn't course correct soon, it risks becoming just another once-dominant force that failed to evolve. And that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit like and subscribe for more.